Well, I think a great wrong is being done to the people of Tesla and to our customers. Tesla is a peaceful company that has made great cars, great products. That's all it's done. Hasn't harmed anyone. And yet people are committing violence. They're firebombing Tesla dealerships. They're shooting guns into stores. They're threatening people. They're issuing death threats against me and other Tesla personnel. What are they doing this for? Why? And what's happening, it seems to me, is they're being fed propaganda by the far left. And they believe it. It's really unfortunate. But the real problem is not the people. It's not like the crazy guy that firebombs a Tesla dealership. It's the people pushing the propaganda that caused that guy to do it. Those are the real villains here, and we're going to go after them. And the president's made it clear we're going to go after them. The ones providing the money, the ones pushing the lies and propaganda, we're going after them.
And it's been this evolution. I mean, the last administration was going to mandate electric vehicles, and now you see on the far left some efforts to go after electric vehicles. It's quite something.
It is ironic. I mean, it seems like the most ironic outcome is the most likely. But, yeah, I mean...
Personally, it's got to take a toll.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I think there's some real evil out there, and we have to overcome it.
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So that was Elon talking with Fox News, and that was the end of a nearly 40-minute segment with some of the Doge team members in an exclusive interview that I would highly recommend everybody watch. If you haven't seen it, I'll have the link below. This moment right here, I bet some of you recognized it when Elon takes his long pauses, locks in with eye contact, and gets very serious and speaks slowly and clearly. You know that he has shifted into dark Elon mode, call it whatever you want to call it, but the takeaway is he is not playing games. The Tesla AI account said collectively the Tesla fleet has driven more than 3.6 billion miles on FSD, first beta, then supervised, 2.16 billion miles in 2024 alone. If you divide 2.16 billion miles by 4 quarters, that averages out to about 540 million miles per quarter. Then having a look at Tesla's Q4 slide deck, we can see that the number was, we'll call it 2.8 billion at the end of December last year, meaning Tesla has added about 800 million miles in effectively less than 1 quarter. And obviously that 800 million mile number is not going to stay the same for all 4 quarters this year, but even if it did, that's still 3.2 billion miles in 2025 alone. But realistically, I would say the fleet has a chance of doing over 4 billion miles in 2025 alone, which again would be up from 2.16 billion in 2024. Translation, we are approaching hockey stick growth trajectory. People love to give Elon a hard time about his timeline, specifically around FSD, but let's go back to Master Plan Part 2 for a second. This came out over the summer of 2016, and they said, we expect worldwide regulatory approval will require something on the order of 6 billion miles. Well, we're already at 3.6 billion, and we're likely to do a minimum of 3.2 billion throughout 2025. So we're not across the finish line yet, but for that to be put out in 2016, which is almost hard to fathom what the world was like at that point, that is an incredibly astute prediction. Shifting gears a bit to a topic that made me somewhat sick today. One, Trevor Milton is back on X.
What's up, guys? Oh my gosh. You won't believe just what happened. Sorry, it's pretty hard for me to talk about, but probably the best day I've had in 5 years. I just got a call from the President of the United States on my phone, and he signed my full and unconditional pardon of innocence. I am free. The prosecutors can no longer hurt me. They can't destroy my family. They can't rip everything away from me. They can't ruin my life.
let me stop you right there, pal. You ruined your own life, not anybody else. At least that's how it should have played out.
What was your reason for pardoning Trevor Milton?
Highly recommended by many people, that was taken advantage of. He did a business deal like in Utah, as I have it, and I think he was exonerated, and then they brought him into New York. We had a rough road. I mean, he was exonerated. It was a big celebration. Again, I don't know him, but they say it was very unfair, and they say the thing that he did wrong was he was one of the first people that supported a gentleman named Donald Trump for president. He supported Trump. He liked Trump. I didn't know him, but he liked him. It was in Utah, and they went after him. They went after his family. They went after his businesses. And he was, I believe, exonerated, and then they went after him again, and they brought him this time into Manhattan, and he had nothing to do with Manhattan, and they got him.
All right, first of all, I did some digging. I found nothing about Trevor Milton ever being exonerated. He was convicted in October of 2022 on 1 count of securities fraud and 2 counts of wire fraud for misleading investors, which we covered broadly. Then, December 2023, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison and fined $1 million. So I don't know if Trump had him confused with somebody else, but no, Trevor Milton was never exonerated. And I will say, as far as I can tell, this pardon does not preclude civil lawsuits that any investors may pursue against Trevor. This is directly from justice.gov. Milton's scheme targeted individual non-professional retail investors by making false and misleading statements directly to the investing public. Milton made false claims regarding nearly all aspects of Nikola's business. And we've covered all of this in years past, but as a reminder, just one thing: Trevor Milton claimed the prototype Nikola 1 was fully functioning and worked, which is really incredible. But in fact, the Nikola 1 prototype was never completed and never functioned. Rather, the prototype was wholly missing significant parts, including gears and motors and the control system. And listen, Trevor didn't just make one mistake. He was doing this misleading for years, over and over and over, but the story goes back even further, and most people don't know this. Back in 2006, there are stories like this one individual, Glenn Pills, who bought a business from Trevor Milton. Promises were made, but soon after the purchase, the business became a disaster. Pills said he lost the $300,000 down payment he invested after buying a company from Trevor. This was a security and alarms business. We won't go further into the weeds on this one, but just know all of this information is public. You can go find it for yourself if you're interested. My point here is Trevor Milton is a purebred scam artist. Trevor had the nerve to say, "This pardon is not just about me, it's about every American who has been railroaded by the government." Excuse me? Did the government hold a gun to your head and tell you to say all of those things to the investors that spent thousands of dollars on this fraudulent business? And then the web gets even murkier. We have Brad Bondi, who represented Trevor Milton in his securities fraud trial, who, by the way, is the brother of Attorney General Pam Bondi. And Trevor and his wife together made contributions last October to Trump's re-election effort, totaling over $1.8 million. We won't get into the politics of this, but this is so disappointing. In my opinion, this is a terrible look for Trump. And at the very least, the optics of this alone look very bad for Pam Bondi and family. Because after all of the fleecing that Trevor Milton did to thousands of retail investors, it's looking like he won't spend 1 day in jail. So yeah, I'm a bit fired up about this one, but I just cannot find any reason why logically this would be a good moral decision. As it stands now, the only options I see would be a mistake and or corruption. And given any mistake is seemingly not being corrected, I would lean toward the latter. And real quick, I do just want to make one thing clear. Overall, I am still very pleased and excited with the direction of the country right now, but I have never said Trump is a good or moral person, and I have said before he's far from perfect. It's just for me, I always thought Trump was the much better alternative, and I do still firmly believe that. But yes, I'm able to call a spade, and I do think this was a very poor decision with poor judgment, and the optics are terrible for those who know the real story. So no one is perfect, not Elon, and definitely not Trump.
24 Model Y, Hardware 4 computer, full self-driving, version 13.2.8. Sees the wall. Definitely sees the wall.
All right.
All right.
There you have it from Kyle Paul. He ran some more testing on this Wile E. Coyote test with a Model Y using hardware 4. He did it 3 times, and all 3 times the vehicle stopped on FSD, it did recognize the wall. But with a 2022 Model Y in hardware 3 and FSD 12, it did not.
Final take. We're going to let this one go through. If it goes through, 22 Model Y, full self-driving, hardware 3, version 12.6.4. Trying to get this to maybe 55. Let it slow down a little bit. Let's do about 40. There. It's gonna go through. It's gonna go through, boys. It's going through.
It's doing it.
It's doing it. Went right through.
There you have it. Great job, Kyle, on the test. Hardware 4 against the Wile E. Coyote wall, still undefeated. Hardware 3 not looking so great. Obviously, this has very little real-world practicality, so not something to be concerned about, but clearly Hardware 4 and the upgrades like the cameras with better resolution, more processing power with Hardware 4, and just a more robust model overall do of course have benefits. Tesla has secured the top spot as the UK's best rated car brand for 2025. Tesla has also scored high in reliability according to the latest Honest John Satisfaction Index. This based on direct feedback from over 6,000 British motorists. Tesla also claimed second place in the reliability category with a 95% score, narrowly trailing Lexus. Tesla's rise to the top of the 2025 Satisfaction Index reflects the brand's growing loyalty among UK drivers. Despite lingering concerns over service availability and inconsistent build quality in the past, Tesla owners now report significantly improved experiences across the board. And remember, the UK is one of the only regions that's been reporting sales growth for Tesla for the beginning of this year. Who knows what will come of this one, but Trump has indeed issued a warning to automakers, and it's they better not raise car prices because of tariffs. Trump told the executives that the White House would look unfavorably on such a move. But as I said yesterday, companies like Ford, already losing billions of dollars on their EVs, are just not going to be able to eat 25% tariffs. So yeah, it'll be an interesting road ahead. Unfortunately, right now, it seems like every day there are 3 to 5 new cases of Tesla vehicle vandalism. Here's another one in Oklahoma City. Here's another in New York. Here's one in California. Here's one in Florida. And those were just over the past 24 hours. But this right here is the type of thinking that we're dealing with.
Destruction of property is a perfectly viable source of protest. No harming humans, obviously. Yeah. Human life is sacred no matter whose it is. But property these are just things. These are just cars.
Excuse me, lady? Okay, if that's the case, well, you know what? I'm feeling like protesting this very take of yours, so why don't you show me where your vehicle's at so I can go set it on fire? It's, just a protest, no big deal. Give me a break with this stuff. And Elon called it out on X too, saying such hypocrisy, sharing this post from Ava Fox. As a reminder, this weekend is expected to be quite noisy for Tesla land, as the Tesla takedown movement is expecting hundreds of demonstrations to take place over the weekend. Going to their website, it says, join the March 29th Global Day of Action. Sell your Teslas, dump your stock, stop Musk now. We are tanking Tesla's stock price to stop Musk. Stopping Musk will help save lives and protect our democracy. And they're saying it'll be peaceful, so we'll see. Tesla is taking orders for a new variant of the Model Y called the RWD 110, but before anybody gets excited, it's only for the Singapore market. Named 110 because it only has 110 kilowatts of power, down from the 255 on the Model Y rear-wheel drive. But this isn't that surprising because they did the same thing with the Model 3 in Singapore. Tesla doing it this way puts this vehicle in a different category, which can save owners nearly $20,000 in road tax over a 10-year period. So it has less power and it's significantly slower, but everything else is identical. And it's about $3,000 more affordable upfront. This is quite the page turner in Tesla's history, but as Sawyer said, the legacy Model Y inventory is now pretty much sold out across the entire US. Tech geek Tesla shared a new notification when using FSD. He had a tumbler in his hands and the system said, attention monitoring unavailable, hands not ready to take over. So yeah, another nag scenario, but I would not be surprised if this is coming from the regulators. Tesla app updates decompiled the latest software version of the mobile app, and there's a new hero image and the title, Early Access. They said, curious as to why Early Access now has a header image attached. Maybe this is setting us up for a more wide net program for unsupervised FSD on customer vehicles. As far as I can tell, this has not gone to the production release yet, but may be coming soon. Visual Capitalist put together a chart from Consumer Reports showing maintenance and repair costs by brand. I don't think anyone will be shocked that Tesla is the #1 brand when it comes to ownership costs, coming in at $5,050 for a total 10-year cost. The beige portion of the bars are the costs for the first 5 years, and the blue portion of the bars is the next 5-year cost. Rounding out the top 5, it's Lincoln, Buick, Toyota, and Hyundai. Saving the best for last, Elon posted on X, xAI has acquired X in an all-stock transaction. The combination values xAI at $80 billion and X at $33 billion, which is $45 billion minus $12 billion of debt. xAI and X's futures are intertwined. Today, we officially take the step to combine the data, models, compute, distribution, and talent. This combination will unlock immense potential by blending xAI's advanced AI capability and expertise with X's massive reach. The combined company will deliver smarter, more meaningful experiences to billions of people while staying true to our core mission of seeking truth and advancing knowledge. Of course, xAI's revenue isn't really public, but there were some reports in December of last year saying it was generating around $100 million every year. And X by itself has seen quite a rebound in valuation, as it was down around $10 billion in September last year. As a Tesla investor, one of the main concerns was that Elon may need to sell more Tesla stock in the future to help fund X, so I would say this acquisition would theoretically make that scenario less likely. That's because xAI really hasn't had any problem raising capital so far, and I don't think acquiring X is going to change that situation. And sure, maybe some xAI investors don't love acquiring X because it brings on that $12 billion of debt, but from a long-term perspective, I think most people would understand that the data and the platform will be worth it in the long run. So given xAI's valuation and access to capital, there's certainly a more clear path now for paying off X's debt over time if they so choose. And of course, there was chatter last year that Elon and Tesla might consider taking a stake in xAI to the tune of maybe $5 billion. I've been in favor of Tesla doing this since day one, and had they done that, invested $5 billion when xAI was only valued at around $30 billion, they could have owned 15% of the company, they being Tesla and us shareholders. But now, at current valuations, that same $5 billion would would only get us about 6% of xAI. So I'm certainly not writing off the possibility of this Tesla investment happening in the future, but the longer it goes on and the more time passes, the higher the xAI valuation climbs and the less sense it's going to make for Tesla. So don't misunderstand me, I'm not saying that door is already closed, but the door is slowly being shut. But congrats to xAI and the X teams. This does appear to be a great synergistic move that will undoubtedly shake up the AI and LLM world over the next 3 years. Grok stands to benefit, and that's coming to a Tesla vehicle near you sometime soon, and the fears about Elon selling Tesla for X, I would say, have been reduced materially by this move. Again, not that it's impossible, just less likely. Tesla stock closed the day at $263.55, down 3.51%, while the NDX was down 2.61%. Tesla's volume was 7% above the average. Hope you all have a safe and a wonderful weekend. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X, linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.